Good afternoon, Managing Collection students. This is Cynthia, and it is Monday, January 13th, and we will be seeing you next Sunday afternoon. So this message is just kind of a recap of some of the things we've done, and then a little bit of information for you to take a look at before we see you on Sunday. So first of all, we hope you really enjoyed the Developing Collections to Empower Learners book. This is a really great librarian resource. I can say that Anne and I both really love this book, and we actually really loved reading your responses and then your discussions that you had this week. And we learned a lot, so that's always great. As instructors, it's exciting to learn from our students, and we learn from you guys all the time. So we hope that you enjoyed that and got a lot of good information, and just kind of keep that tucked away in the back of your mind for reference. Sometimes you get a little off the track or lost as far as what you're doing and maybe how things are going, and that's a good way to kind of ground yourself back into the collections process. So, because it is an ongoing cycle, and it is something that's really important because it serves all of your students. So we hope you enjoyed that. And so we're going to hop over here to Blackboard, and one of the things that came up in the text was the idea of a library plan, which we won't get into in this course, but we did share with you some resources if that's something you'd like to take a look at a little bit deeper. It is something that you need to make time for. And so we wanted to share some more information, but that's something you'll cover in some of your other coursework at UNO. So the next few assignments are going to involve some reading. So I wanted to just kind of show you Chris Library, and you're going to be looking at databases. And so in your course materials, there is a link to right here, Chris Library Guide Selection Tools, and this will take you to a list of professional reading journals that they have, and then also we have the LibGuide to some of their databases. So these are going to be places you're going to start looking for information and for articles for your next assignment. I think it's not the next one, but the one after that. So if you have a chance to kind of dig into that and start taking a look, that is a great place to start. One of the ones that I like is Academic Search Complete, but there's some other ones. Education Source is another good one. But we'll be looking for articles on collections management, so those are things that you'll want to start thinking about and maybe kind of browse through there and see if you can find some articles that might be of interest to you later on. And then on Sunday, we're going to talk a little bit about the standards for 21st century learning, and this is kind of what we live by. These are our national standards. We live by our state standards and the ISTE standards, but these are the library standards, and they're quite broad and very easy to read and just think about in the back of your mind when you're doing things and working with students. You know, which of these standards am I hitting, and where am I able to kind of fit some of those things, and making sure that you're really creating a power pack of learning in terms of state standards and ISTE, which are the technology standards, and then our library standards. So we're going to take a look at this, and there's a link to that in course materials. So before you see us on Sunday, maybe take a look at that. I actually have this printed out. It's on my desk, and I have a copy saved to my drive, so I can kind of always get to it. So it's a great resource. We're going to take a look at it on Sunday and do a little talking about what we find in there. So that's something you're going to want to take a look at before we see you. And then I want to just talk very briefly about professional reviews. We talked a lot about the different types of selection tools that were out there. We have our selection criteria through the ALA, But then what do we use for those reviews? And so one of the things that we noticed in some of the tasks that we were looking at, I don't know that we made that entirely clear, but things like School Library Journal, Hornbook, those are publications that are reviewed by educators and librarians. And so although Goodreads is a really great place to get book recommendations, and I use it all the time to find things, to find read-alikes. It doesn't always provide a professional review. Some of the people that write there are very knowledgeable and they really know a lot about books and kids, but it's a great place to find good information. But if you want a professional review, you're going to want to stick with like Voya or Teacher, Librarian, Hornbook, or School Library Journal. And those are going to be professional reviews that take into account kind of the total package as far as collections and our invisibles and how does this fit in our curriculum in our school. And so I'm going to pop over here to Tidal Wave, and this is a vendor, so just keep in mind this is, you're buying books from this website or from this vendor, so they do provide reviews for you to look at, but always just be mindful of the fact that they, at the end of the day, they are selling you something, and so what is here and what's not here is something to just kind of be thinking about. So I really like this because I can usually find a School Library Journal or an education related review, and I like that they give us kind of a grade. In middle school, I'm always kind of walking a fine line between young adult, not young adult. So I like this because I can look up the book very quickly, I can get a kind of an overview, I can check that review, and then if I want to add it to my list to purchase because our district uses Tidal Wave, I can do that very quickly. So it is very convenient. But just know that, you know, not everything that you need or that you need to represent your students is going to be in one vendor. We will have a guest on Sunday who is going to talk to us about Mackin, which is another great vendor resource, and it gives you a lot of information and a lot of good tools for choosing books. So we will have someone to really visit with us about that on Sunday, and that'll be really exciting. And then one more time, just Novelist. That also will give you some professional reviews, and so those are just things to keep in mind. We talked about social media and we talked about Goodreads and Amazon and blogs, and those are all great, but if you're in a district where you need to have a professional review, the School Library Journal, the Voya, the Teacher Librarian, Hornbook, those are going to be the websites and the reviews that you are going to give you that professional education perspective, and that's really important. And then, let's see, last, we're going to start talking a little bit about deselection or weeding, and I know some of you have already expressed some apprehension about that process, and so we're going to really walk you through that. One of the links in Blackboard is to CREW, which is a weeding manual. You do not have to print this out. You're welcome to if you want to. But this is one of the ones we'll be talking about, and it's one of the systems for deselection, and it's kind of a, each letter stands for something, and Musty is another one that we're going to look at on Sunday. So this is, we're going to start talking about what does this process of deselections look like, and we'll be doing, our last class will be doing kind of a hands-on activity, and I think that will help kind of bring everything full circle. So maybe take a look at that if you have a chance before we see you in class. Class is on Sunday at 1:30, and we're excited to see you. And so enjoy the beautiful weather while we have it, and Anne and I will see you on Sunday.